The movie starts by showing the peaceful city of Amsterdam. Then we meet Ilyan Petrov, a Bulgarian man on a business trip to the Netherlands who seems to have visited the country before. Even the hotel receptionist recognizes him. Petrov takes his medication right away in his hotel room because he has a serious heart condition. Then, as a good husband, he tells his wife that he has arrived safely. However, on his first day, he has some bad luck because he leaves his expensive AirPods on the train. For some reason, he also has a bad feeling. Her husband sounded upset, so his wife suggested that Petrov buy a new pair of AirPods, especially since he needed them for meetings and other work-related matters. Without hesitation, Petrov went to the nearest Apple store to buy the latest model of AirPods. When he entered the store, it was busy. This wasn't surprising, as there are more wealthy people in the Netherlands than poor people. It's no surprise that a place like this is always busy. But there was a food truck parked in front of the store behind the crowd. Then a very suspicious man came out of it. The man then went into the store and didn't say a word, even though the store clerk was there to greet him. He took something out of his backpack, which made her suspicious. Petrov and all the visitors were thrown into chaos. Shortly after, 2 police officers were startled by gunshots and the screams of the visitors. Meanwhile, a store employee named Mingus tried to find a hiding place for the trapped visitors. The 2 police officers quickly secured the area and reported to headquarters.
Allemaal op de grond. Binnen blijven. Naar binnen. Oh, zij is goed.
While everyone was looking for a place to hide, Petrov didn't move. This made him the terrorist's target, who we'll call Amar. Petrov felt very unlucky. He had come to buy AirPods, but he ended up in this situation. After tying Petrov's hands, Amar revealed himself to the police in his military uniform. But surprisingly, there was a bomb attached to his uniform. The police told their office right away and asked for an anti-terrorism unit to come. Meanwhile, Amar lowered his weapon and shot the store window. Amar was testing the security of the Apple store. The store had bulletproof glass that was hard to break. But the company's main office called its best field team members right away. One of them was Lieutenant Winston, who was on vacation with his family. However, he had to leave his wife and children because he got an emergency call. In addition to calling in the anti-terrorism unit, headquarters also contacted a skilled investigator named Keys. His job is to convince Amar to release the hostages. At the same time, Amar dragged Petrov in front of the police while pointing his gun at him. Amar asked the police to bring a negotiator right away. But since the police didn't bring a negotiator, Amar decided to call headquarters. He threatened to kill Petrov if the police took too long. He would only talk if there was a negotiator.
Nu mijn nummer, toch? Laat hem mij nu bellen.
Meanwhile, Mingus, who was hiding in the warehouse, asked the store visitors not to come out because it was very dangerous. He borrowed a phone from one of the visitors and called the police. He also told them that many visitors were still being held hostage there. When the police heard this, they told him to stay calm because the anti-terrorism unit would arrive soon. At the same time, Keys, the investigator, finally arrived at headquarters. Meanwhile, Winston and the new team members were told to get ready. As night fell, headquarters called in a negotiator named Lynn. Here, Keys gave Lynn the job and helped her from behind. The plan was to get Amar out of the store so that the field team could catch him. We then see Captain Ab arrive at the crime scene to lead Winston and the field. Before he became captain of the anti-terrorism unit, he was known as the best special forces soldier in the Netherlands. Meanwhile, Lynn and the negotiation team are getting ready to negotiate with Amar. However, when he is called, Amar suddenly hangs up to show that he is in control of the situation. While Amar waits for the next call, Petrov, who is in pain, begs him to let him take his medicine. Surprisingly, this terrorist still has a conscience and immediately gets him the medicine. Amar also replaces Petrov's handcuffs with a rope because he is complaining of pain. After that, Ammar contacted Lynn to start talking about how to move forward. Here, Lynn introduced herself to get Ammar to reveal his identity. But this tough guy wasn't easily impressed. He demanded 200 million Bitcoin. If the police couldn't find the shooter, Ammar said he would blow up the Apple Store. Meanwhile, Mingus and the hostages were still hiding in the warehouse. However, one of the hostages, who was angry, blamed Mingus and said that he was working for Ammar. Fortunately, there was a wise hostage who defended Mingus.
Ik wil 200 miljoen aan bitcoin en een vrije aftocht.
Dat gaat met die fucking klote laptop. Maar ik wou hier niet eens blijven. Wat gooi je bek gaan.
Petrov, curious, asked Ammar why he was doing all this. Ammar replied with passion, saying that he wanted to get revenge on the police and the government for ruining his life. Here, he didn't talk about what the government had done to destroy his life. But Petrov could clearly see the anger in his eyes. Ammar didn't want to waste time, so he continued with his plan. He took a selfie with Petrov and sent it to the official police email address. Keys got the selfie by chance. After looking at it closely, Keys thought the bomb Ammar had planted was not real. He asked Captain Ab to identify it, because if it was real, it could destroy an entire building. But if it was fake, the field team could raid the location right away.
Gehoord, Kees?
Is gehoord.
2. Een snelle instap op de begane grond.
Meanwhile, Mingus and the hostage began to get to know each other to make the atmosphere more pleasant. They also talked about their lives, even though their lives were in danger. Meanwhile, Ammar was getting tired of Lynn's non-stop small talk. He repeated that the government and police must pay 200 million Bitcoin and let him leave the country. If not, the store would explode, destroying everything inside. Hearing this, Lynn tries to stay calm and asks Ammar again who he is. However, Ammar only reveals his initials, AA.
AA.
At the same time, Kiss received reports that there was a hostage on the upper floor who had posted an emergency message on Instagram. When he sees this, he tells Captain Ab to save Ammar before Ammar sees the post. The field team quickly contacted Mingus to draw a map of the store's floor plan. This would help them reach the upper floor without being noticed. However, Kes discovered a problem. The hostage who posted on Instagram refused to delete the post. This could put the other hostages in danger if Ammar found out. It turned out that the hostage had intentionally posted it to get attention. Kes, who had lost his patience, immediately threatened to send him to jail. Kes then told Lynn to distract Ammar by talking to him. At the same time, Winston and the field team started sneaking in through the back door of the store. During their conversation, Ammar shared his feelings with Lynn. He told her that the government and the police had never been fair to him. He even said he had been put in prison even though he didn't do anything wrong. Ammar said the government was racist because it treated him unfairly because he was from Syria. Lynn was a good negotiator and showed that she understood Ammar's situation. Unexpectedly, Ammar began to trust Lynn enough to reveal his real name. The investigative team quickly got all the information they needed about Ammar. It turns out that Ammar has a history of severe mental illness. In short, Winston and his team managed to reach the top floor and quietly extract the hostages from there. They left immediately before Ammar could see them. Lynn distracted Ammar, allowing Winston and his team to safely evacuate the hostages. Now, Petrov, Mingus, and the 3 other hostages are the only ones left inside.
Ammar, dankjewel.
Loop door, hand op je hoofd. Hand op je hoofd.
Pipe is clear. Geen tangos, alleen maar Sierras. Stand by for you.
Shortly after, Petrov's wife called, and Ammar let her speak. However, Petrov chose not to say anything because he didn't want his wife to worry. Ammar was waiting for the Bitcoin transfer from the government, and he was getting impatient. He eventually had a deep conversation with Petrov. Here, Petrov said he was worried about Ammar and his family. They had always been treated unfairly. But he also said that Amar made a very unwise decision. When he heard this, Amar didn't say anything. Instead, he invited Petrov to have coffee with him. While Amar was making coffee, Mingus looked worried because one of the hostages was sick. He told the field team to call a doctor. The doctor couldn't come, so he diagnosed the illness over the phone. Meanwhile, Lynn distracted Amar so Mingus wouldn't be noticed. At the same time, one of the snipers accidentally aimed a laser at Amar. Amar immediately got very angry and threatened to kill Petrov. Lynn tried to calm him down, but Amar wouldn't listen. He no longer trusted Lynn and wanted to replace the negotiator. When Lynn and the negotiation team heard this, they didn't know what to do. They couldn't possibly guess what was going on in Amar's mind. This is especially true because he had a history of mental illness and had been admitted to Sambang Lehum Mental Hospital. If not handled properly, Amar could put everyone's lives in danger. So, one of Lynn's colleagues asked her to replace the negotiator, according to what Amar wanted. But Lynn felt she could still persuade him. In the end, Lynn's colleague took over the negotiations, but Amar became even more angry because the money had not been transferred yet. He started counting down and was ready to detonate the bomb. When the negotiators heard this, they tried to distract him. The negotiators asked Amar what kind of car he wanted to escape in. Amar said he wanted to escape in a black limousine. After Amar made his request, Petrov suddenly became angry because he was dehydrated and needed water. Instead of drinking water, he was offered Red Bull, which is bad for your heart. After thinking about it, Amar asked the police for water because he didn't want anyone to die before his request was approved. The police sent water using a robot so that there would be no direct contact with Amar, but Winston and the snipers were ready to arrest him. Then, just as Petrov was about to take the water, he saw an opening. Without hesitation, he ran away. Winston hit Amar. Amar ended up lying in the middle of the road. Captain Ab praised Winston and said that he would receive a Medal of Honor. While the bomb squad defused Amar's bomb, Petrov received medical treatment as his heart condition worsened. After that, Winston comforted Petrov, who was upset. To help him recover, he took him to the nearest police station to rest. At the same time, the bomb disposal team was getting ready to take out the explosives from Amar's body. Meanwhile, another team began evacuating Mingus and all the remaining hostages. Lynn was disappointed that the negotiations had not gone smoothly. However, Keyes tried to calm her down by saying that she had done a good job. Most importantly, all the hostages had been rescued. The police thanked Mingus for the information that helped with the rescue. After that, the police took him home. But then, Mingus suddenly started crying because he was happy to be alive. The next day, Amsterdam was peaceful again, as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Winston returned home to find his wife waiting for him. Petrov was taken to a hotel after everything was settled. Petrov was still in a lot of pain after facing Amar. To calm himself, he listened to music using his new AirPods, which he had bought at great expense. At the end of the film, Amar was reported to have died after being hit by Winston. The Dutch government will make security tighter to stop these kinds of incidents from happening again. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more content.